PC Building Simulator. It's a great game that will let you build your dream PC with just about anything you could ever want. But I've always wondered, can we actually use the information from this game to build a gaming PC in real life? Let's find out. What's up everyone, welcome back to the RA Visuals YouTube channel, where you'll always find high quality visuals and high quality tech. And today we are going to have some fun and use PC Building Simulator, the video game, to see if someone who knows nothing about PC building can use their learn to build a PC feature in the game as a viable way to put together a real life gaming PC and make it actually work. But before we get into that, there is something you always need when building a new PC, and that is a copy of Windows 10 or 11. And let me ask you this, do you want to pay over $100 for it? No? Well, how does less than $15 sound?
VIP URCD Key has you covered with fully licensed codes to activate your favorite games and software. Purchasing your key is super easy. All you have to do is click on the item that you want, click buy to add it to your cart. Once in your cart, you can now enter my promo code RAV20. After adding the promo code, you'll see your savings pop up, and you can then purchase your product with your chosen payment method. Finding and entering your Windows 10 CD key is super easy. All you have to do is go over to your user profile, find your purchase, and click View Keys and Codes to reveal your new CD key. Then all you have to do is go to Settings in Windows, click on Update and Security, click on Activation, and finally click on Change Product Key and paste your new key into the window and click Next. You'll now have a fully licensed version of Windows 10 with no watermark. Check the links in the description to start saving now.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and click on how to build a PC real quick, and it should take us into the how to build a PC mode here. Okay, so in this tutorial, you'll learn about the main components of PC and how they go together. So guys, before I get started on this, I just wanna say that this is probably how to build a PC in this game, okay? Obviously, you guys know this video is probably a little bit of a joke, but anyway, let's just see what happens. Okay, open the case. First, we need to remove the side panels so we can install the components inside, okay? All right, so in this game, you just click it and it comes off. Okay. Okay, and then that's it for removing the side panels. So in real life, guys, that doesn't really teach you very much because obviously in real life, a bunch of different types of cases. This is just one case. There's different types of thumb screws. There's different types of tempered glass side panels and whatnot that you have to unscrew. So that doesn't really get you 100% there. It kind of just, you got to click a mouse in this game and it takes the side panels off. Anyway, let's move on. Install the PSU. Great, next we'll install the power supply unit. This provides power to all the components. Okay, I can't wait to see what they do here. Okay, so right away they're starting with this power supply mount thing. Now, not every case is going to have this power supply mount. So this is just basically for this case right here. What are we actually using? A Cooler Master case? I don't even know which one it is. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments, but not every case has this. A lot of times you just can slide the PSU in there and mount it. But anyway, whatever, let's just do that. So we got to remove it. Again, you just click it. At least in this part, they tell you to take off each screw and you have to do it. That's kind of nice. So at least it's doing that and taking you know, the screws out, which you would need to do in real life. Okay, let's find our, so this is kind of funny. So then it kind of goes right here and goes, which one is the power supply? So again, if you guys are new, this could be helpful. The power supply is this one right here. Okay, and then, so it does give you a couple different tool tips for different things. So like right here, that's kind of nice. This is a modular power supply we're using. So again, this doesn't explain everything. There are modular power supplies and non-modular power supplies. They don't explain that. They just show you a modular one because I guess they figure everyone's gonna have one of those, but hopefully they actually teach you how to hook it up. Mains power, I'm not sure why they put mains power on there, but that's just, yeah, okay, at least they explain with these tool tips, like what each of these pieces do. Then it shows you the fan right here. Expels hot air. It doesn't teach you anything about how you should mount it though. I can already tell you that. So let me go ahead and show, how do you install it? You click again, you stick it in there. Okay. In real life, I guess that works. You'd obviously go from the side, not from there, but now you got to put that case part in. Okay. And so this makes sense here. You put the power supply in and you put the screws down. That's actually what you do in real life. That, I mean, that part works. I don't have anything bad to say about that. That's okay. So now we can go ahead and go install the motherboard. Okay, at the heart of this PC is the motherboard and all the major components connected to it. Okay, so it wants us just to grab the motherboard. Obviously, if you guys don't know, I mean, it does highlight it and it tells you which piece is what. So there you go. So guys, okay, there's a lot of tool tips on this, so I'm not gonna go through all of them, but if you guys were new, this is kind of nice that they do give you all these tool tips to everything on this motherboard. So it's kind of nice. If you needed to know what everything is, you didn't understand, this is kind of nice that you do that. Now, my one gripe here, they're showing you this is an Intel socket right here. There's no option in this tutorial to do an AMD build, even though they do have it in the game. So you can figure out how to do either one, because when we install the CPU, I'll let you guys know there's a couple different types of CPU and different types of socket, and you got to be aware of that because Intel uses a different one and AMD uses a different one. Until recently, AMD is going back to the same type of LGA socket. But anyway, doesn't matter. Let's just see what they tell us to do here. Okay, they just tell you to throw the motherboard in there. Okay. All right, well, at least they tell you to install standoffs, because in real life, yes, you will need to install standoffs if your case doesn't already have them installed. Now, the thing that I don't like about this is it doesn't tell you or try to differentiate if your motherboard is a micro ATX, standard ATX, or extended ATX, whatever. It's just going with standard ATX, maybe because it's the most common. But either way, at least they do tell you to install the freaking standoffs. That is a good thing. Let's see if they make us install the IO shield, because nope, they don't. Okay, so that right there, that'll get you in trouble with your real PC build. I guess it just automatically goes in this game, but before your motherboard, you always want to install your IO shield. Otherwise, you're not going to be, yeah, you're gonna not install an IO shield and it's gonna look stupid. Anyway, okay, so at least they tell you to put the screws in. Every motherboard, again, is going to be different. Some have extra. Apparently this one only has 6. There we go. So at least it tells you to do that. Okay, and now we're going with some connections here, okay? So this is nice. This is actually very important, okay? It tells you about the 8-pin ATX, or the CPU power connector, and it tells you about the 24-pin ATX power connector. That's very nice that they do that, because these are very important. If you don't have either of these plugged in, your PC is not going to turn on. So that's nice they tell you to do that. So I guess in this game, you connect that. And they do show you down here that they need to connect to the power supply in their proper slot. So they did very well on this. I'll give them that. That's nice. Again, in real life, it's going to be different. You're going to actually have to plug it in physically, but that should kind of show you a little bit of how it works. Same thing with this. Again, it goes into the power supply. Most power supplies will have these marked for you though, so you should be able to know how to do it. So I won't gig them too bad on that. Okay, this I'm going to have to completely disagree with how they did this. Okay, so in this game, apparently, all you got to do is just plug one thing in. Okay, for those of you that have built a computer before, you know this is incorrect with your front panel stuff. There are a bunch of little teeny tiny little connectors that come with a front panel, connectors on a case that you need to plug into your motherboard. And you usually have to get your motherboard manual out, or you have to read the small little print that's on your motherboard down here that tells you where each one of these connectors goes. And they're very small. They don't all just connect in at one time. Now, some high-end boards have a little piece that actually allows you to plug each little connector in and then plug it into the motherboard to make it easier. But a bottom level board like we're seeing in the game here, it's not gonna have that. So again, that's incorrect. So like right here, all it does is tells you to do this. And you're done. Install the CPU. Okay, the central processing unit is PC's brain, blah, blah, blah. Yep, good stuff to know. Perfect. Okay, so let's go find the CPU. Yep, again, it's very nice at telling us where things are. And it tells us where, what things are about it. So yeah, the processor or the die and the inside of it, good. Tells you about all that and all the heat and everything. The heat plate, which is where you put your thermal paste and all that. We'll get to that in a second. And then this right here, this is what I was talking about. So it mentions the pins. Okay, so it says each CPU has its own pin layout, orientation, socket. So it does tell you this stuff, but they do not show you the difference. So right here, we're looking at what's probably an Intel CPU because we're using an Intel motherboard, and I can just tell that because I've done this a bunch of times. So what we're seeing right here is this is a CPU that is meant for an LGA socket or land grid array socket. AMD, for the longest time have used what's called a PGA socket or a pin grid array socket, because AMD CPUs have pins on the bottom of them that go into little holes in the socket. So it'd be nice if they, you know, taught you that or differentiated it in the game, but they don't. They just kind of teach you how to do an Intel build. So for you AMD users out there, sorry. Anyway, let's install this thing. Let's see if this is right. So, yep, you lift the lever and that comes up. Okay, that's correct. And then you just stick it in there. It doesn't make any mention though of the orientation of the CPU, which is very important. Can we zoom in here? Yeah, we can. So you can actually see they do put it on the CPU. There's a little triangle there. It'd be nice if they would have told you that. The triangle lines up with another triangle on the socket, and that's how you know which way to put it. But they didn't tell you that. But there you go. So let's close that, and then it closes that, and then that goes down. Okay, I mean, I guess if you're, you know, just common sense, I guess you could figure that out. Let's apply some thermal paste. So how do we do this? You literally just click it. And it does the perfect amount. Okay. In real life, obviously, you're going to have to squeeze some thermal paste out of a tube or something like that. And that's how you're going to have to do it. So I guess you could go off of this and, you know, discern that that is the right amount. And that's how you should do it. Either way, let's install the CPU cooler. Okay, so it does tell you there are two main cooling types, air or water. So what does it tell us to do in this game? It gives us, this is basically just an Intel stock cooler. That's what we're looking at here. Again, explains everything, what it does and why. So let's go ahead and just install this. In the game, does it give us any details on how this should work? So this is the most simple CPU cooler installation you could possibly do. Yeah, I mean, in real life, yes, these certain CPU coolers, yes, you just push it down into the holes and it snaps in. And then it does at least tell you to connect your CPU fans. So that's nice to the motherboard. Okay, so at least it gives you that step. But guys, there's a plethora of different CPU coolers out there with different directions and different ways to connect them. I know they couldn't cover them all here in this tutorial, but maybe they could have shown a water cooler and how you connect that at least, because they do have them in this game. And maybe just even like a different type of cooler that has fans on it, because a lot of different coolers you got to install fans too, but I don't know. Let's install the graphics card. How do we do this? Okay. Yep, there's the graphics card. Tells you all about it. Cool. So okay, at least they tell you to remove the PCI cover, which in real life you'd have to do that. Okay, and then it just tells you where to put it. So I guess by looking at this in real life, you could look at this and say, okay, we need to put it in this. It doesn't tell you what PCIe slot to put it in though. It shows it, but it doesn't really tell you why. That you need to put it in like this top slot most of the time, because most of the time that's going to be the slot with the most bandwidth, and that's what you want to use. But either way, at least it shows it in that slot, so maybe somebody would just discern that's what you got to do. Another thing that they failed to mention was any kind of PCIe power for your graphics card. Now, pretty much everyone's going to need to use some PCIe power cables to your power supply, and this tutorial has none of those. They just assume you have a card that does not require any extra power. So we're going to do memory next. Okay, so this should be fun. Yep, once again, just shows you what it's all about. Okay, so here's my problem with this. Okay, so on some older motherboards, what they're showing here might be correct, okay? But they do not tell you that newer motherboards, especially DDR4 motherboards, they usually skip a socket here, or a slot here. So they do not, the 9 times out of 10, your memory sticks are not gonna go right next to each other in a new motherboard, or a new, I can't even say new, because DDR4 has been around for quite a while now. So you would usually use one stick in this slot, you would skip one and then go to this one, and your motherboard manual or your motherboard itself, it'll be printed on the motherboard, it'll tell you that. But with older ones, you could get lucky if you have an older build, and this might work. But I'm gonna tell you right now, with a lot of newer builds, this isn't gonna work right here. You're gonna do that and your PC's not gonna boot because your memory sticks are not in the right slot. But maybe for this specific motherboard that we're building on, maybe that is true. Maybe you put them right next to each other. Okay, anyway, install the hard drive. Let's see how they do this. And we're still using a hard drive, by the way. There's no mention of SSDs in this. I can't decide why, but there isn't. So yep, they tell you this. Okay, at least they tell you though, the SATA connection and the power connection need to go on there, because that for an SSD like that makes sense. Of course, this game, NVMe SSDs are a thing in this game. You can use them, but they don't make any mention of those either and how to install those. So a lot of people nowadays are going to be using those, but in this tutorial they don't show that. So they just show you how to open a drive tray. Guys, like, this is going to all be different depending on your case. And of course, you guys are going to have to just pretty much, I guess, figure out how that really goes in real life. I don't know. We close it. Okay. And then it shows you, okay, at least it shows you the connections that are going to need to go to your motherboard and your power supply. So the power, yep, that goes to your power supply. And then most power supplies, like I said, they'll be marked and it will show you that it's SATA power. And then SATA data right there, that'll need to go to one of the SATA ports in your motherboard. So that's pretty good. It doesn't tell you which one you need to use, but most of the time your motherboard will be marked. You'll know that you need to put it in port 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5, whatever. So we'll do that. Additional cooling. So what do we have? Finally, we just have a fan. So it tells you for your case fans, it tells you the motor and the fins. So the fins control which way the air moves. Look out for the arrow on the side of the okay, so I was getting ready to rip them for not telling you how to discern which way the air is gonna go, but if you click on this, it actually does. It kind of tells you that if you look on the, not all fans have this though, you guys. Most fans have a little arrow on it. It tells you that, hey, the air is gonna be blowing this way or that way. So all it tells you is just to install it. Most of the time, guys, you can always know which way the air is gonna blow by looking at the little grid, you know, the little plastic grid on the back of the fan. If the grid is the back part of it, and the air will flow through that part. So there you go. The rest of this is self-explanatory. You screw the fan in. It only shows you one way in one location. Of course, you can put this fan, you can put it up there, you can put it in the front of the case, all over the place. And let's see, does it even tell us to connect the fan to the motherboard? It does. Okay, that's good. At least it tells you that you need to find a fan power port on the motherboard and get it working that way. It does not, however, tell you how to install RGB fans, which are very common, and how to connect them all up and make them work, but whatever. Okay, close the case. So once again, we already took the panels off, so you just put them right back on. Again, this doesn't really go through how to, it should be self-explanatory how to unscrew and screw in a case part, but yeah. Okay, so turn on the PC. Let's see if this does this right. So all the things you got to connect. Okay, so yes, you need your power to your power supply. Yep. Yep, you need to plug in your keyboard and mouse just so you can move things around in your OS or in your BIOS. That's correct. And then, okay, an HDMI, we're using that. This could be an HDMI or DisplayPort or whatever you're gonna use. And it does tell you this. So I love that they do this. It tells you to make sure that you connect it to your graphics card. If you're using a graphics card, a lot of people wanna connect their HDMI cable to their motherboard because a lot of motherboards have HDMI outs on them. But if you're using a discrete card, you wanna make sure you connect your HDMI or DisplayPort to your graphics card. Otherwise, you're not going to see a video signal. It's very common. People do that all the time. They tell you to turn the power supply or the power of the computer on right now at this point. They do not, however, tell you to go back to your power supply and flip the power switch on. That is a huge one that they should tell you because a lot of new builders don't do that. Then they'll go around over here and then they'll just press their power button over and over again and go, oh my God, my computer doesn't work. A lot of times I do this still. I will not flip the power on and I will think the computer is broke. But anyway, I always have that moment where I'm like, I'm an idiot. I forgot to flip the power switch. So here you go. Power switch on. And we've built a PC.
All right, guys, so as you saw, PC Building Simulator is actually a really cool game and can be a great tool for someone to use if they want to learn about PC components and how they go together and what they do. But does this game and its Learn to Build a PC feature actually teach you how to build a complete PC in real life? Short answer, no. While they do teach you what the parts are and how they go together, they don't 100% teach you how to put everything together to make your PC actually run. Of course, I kind of figured this game wasn't going to cover everything you needed to know about PC building, and that's okay because they're actually coming out with a second version of the game sometime this year. So maybe we will take a look at PC Building Simulator 2 when it releases and see if they did any better this time around. So if you guys want to see that, let me know down in the comments below. And as most of you know, this channel is all about PC building, so if you want some super in-depth videos on PC building that will actually help you with both Intel and AMD platform builds, I'll leave a link to my How to Build a PC playlist down below that shows you everything you need to know to get your PC build up and running. But that's going to be it for me. Much love to all of you guys out there, and I'll catch you next time.